Welcome back. Today we're going to explore the topic of tiny houses and discuss the difference between tiny houses on wheels and those built on a foundation. Both options have their unique features and considerations, so let's dive in. Let's start with tiny houses on wheels. One of the key advantages of a tiny house on wheels is mobility. With wheels, you have the freedom to easily move your home to different locations. This flexibility allows you to explore new environments, travel to different regions, and experience various communities. Whether you're seeking adventure or simply want to change your surroundings, a tiny house on wheels offers the opportunity to embrace a nomadic lifestyle. Another benefit of a tiny house on wheels is the ability to bypass some of the restrictions that come with traditional housing. Building codes and zoning regulations can be more lenient for mobile structures, providing you with more flexibility in terms of where you can park or place your tiny house. This can be especially advantageous if you prefer to live in unconventional or rural areas that may have restrictions on permanent dwellings. On the other hand, tiny houses on a foundation offer a more permanent living solution. Building your tiny house on a foundation allows for a solid and secure structure that is typically larger and more spacious than a tiny house on wheels. With a foundation, you can have multiple levels, larger rooms, and more storage options. This additional space can be beneficial if you have specific needs or if you prefer a more traditional layout and design. When it comes to utilities, there are some differences between the two options. Tiny houses on wheels often rely on off-grid systems such as solar power, composting toilets, and water tanks. This self-sufficiency allows for more independence and reduces reliance on traditional utilities. On the other hand, tiny houses on a foundation can be connected to traditional utility systems such as electricity, water, and sewage, providing a more familiar and convenient living experience. Maintenance is another factor to consider. Tiny houses on wheels may require more frequent maintenance due to the constant movement and exposure to the elements. Regular checks on the wheels, axles, and towing mechanisms are essential to ensure safe and smooth travels. On the other hand, tiny houses on a foundation typically require less maintenance related to mobility, but may have more typical homeowner responsibilities such as landscaping and foundation upkeep. When it comes to insurance, there are differences between tiny houses on wheels and those on a foundation. Insuring a tiny house on wheels can be similar to insuring an RV or a travel trailer. It's important to find an insurance policy that specifically covers the unique aspects of a tiny house on wheels, including both the structure and the belongings inside. On the other hand, insuring a tiny house on a foundation is more akin to insuring a traditional home, and you may be able to obtain coverage through homeowners insurance. Resale value is another consideration. Tiny houses on wheels can retain their value relatively well, especially if they are well maintained and built with quality materials. The mobility and flexibility associated with tiny houses on wheels can make them attractive to a broader range of potential buyers. However, it's important to note that the tiny house movement is still relatively new, and the market for used tiny houses is still developing. Tiny houses on a foundation, on the other hand, may be subject to the traditional housing market and factors that influence property value in a specific location. In conclusion, the decision between a tiny house on wheels and one built on a foundation depends on your personal preferences and lifestyle. If you desire mobility, flexibility, and the ability to change locations easily, a tiny house on wheels may be the ideal choice. On the other hand, if you prefer a more permanent and spacious living solution with the convenience of traditional utilities, a tiny house on a foundation may be the better fit. Remember to consider factors such as building codes, zoning regulations, maintenance requirements, and your long-term goals when making your decision. Ultimately, both options offer the opportunity to live a simplified and intentional lifestyle in a smaller footprint. Whether you choose wheels or a foundation, a tiny house can provide you with the freedom, creativity, and sense of home that you're seeking. Thank you for joining us today as we explored the differences between tiny houses on wheels and those on a foundation. We hope this information has provided valuable insights for anyone considering the tiny house lifestyle. Whether you're seeking mobility and flexibility or a more permanent living arrangement, both options have their unique advantages and considerations. Remember to carefully evaluate your needs, budget, and long-term goals before making a decision. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our channel for more content about tiny house living and design. Feel free to leave any comments or questions below, and we'll be happy to assist you. Stay tuned for our next video, where we'll delve into another exciting aspect of the tiny house movement. Until next time, live simply and thrive in your tiny house journey. Take care and see you soon.